Hi, I'm Diana, and this is Build A Quilt's single segment 5x7 string piece block demonstration video. In this video, I'm going to walk you from beginning to end. We're going to go through the pattern. We're going to go through some fabric information, some cutting information, some information on tools that you need, and I'm going to do a full demonstration for you all in this one video. So what is a string pieced block? Well, string piece blocks typically look like this, but a lot of times they're square. In this single segment, you're going to be doing a 5x7, and a 5x7 is great because you can do less of them and still make a really big quilt. With the square, it's going to take you quite a few more to make than it would with this 5x7. Plus, you can still use your 5x7 hoop. And that's what we're known for here at Build a Quilt, that you can make your patchwork in the hoop segments with just a 5x7 hoop. Now, we are going to be coming out with some expanded size pieces that will take larger hoops, but in general, all of our patterns only take that 5x7 hoop. And so this is our single segment 5x7 string piece block. What is a single segment? A single segment is part of our collection where it's just one block, typically one size, maybe two. And with that block, you can create all kinds of things. A lot of times you can exchange them for other pieces in your quilts, all of that kind of thing. So this is our string piece 5x7 single segment. If you'd like to try out our 5x5 single segment piece, that is available at our website, and I'll share that information with you at the end. Now, with the single segment block, this is going to be your pattern, and you're going to get all of the digital files that you need. The digital files will be for all of your home embroidery machines. If there's one in there that you need that isn't in there in the folder, then just let us know and we'll see if we can't make that happen for you. But all of the different file extensions that we put in all of our patterns are all of the most common, and a couple uncommon ones too. As uncommon, I would say, for the United States. Some of them are specifically, I know, folks in the UK use machines with that file extension. So there's a lot of file extensions in there. I think 14 in total, something like that. So I'm sure yours is in there, but if it's not, again, you can let us know, and all of that information will be shared with you at the end, how to get in touch with us. So this is the pattern. Now you can bring your pattern up on your tablet, your computer, or you can print it out like this. You don't have to print it out in color. You could print it out in black and white if you wanted to save color. And for this one, because there isn't a specific color layout, that might work for you. Save a little bit of your ink. So this is our first page. Our second page typically shows you what you're going to make. If you're going to be making a block that it can be very diagrammed, that diagram is usually here. And then right here, full how-to video. In your copy, you will see a link there, and that link takes you to this video every single time you need it. And we choose to do our instructions via video instruction because so many people really like to see things done visually. But if you have any questions, you can always let us know. Now, our next page is some general information on supplies, like what kind of needle do you need? What kind of thread should you use? Do I need a seam roller? Maybe. It can help. It can be a nice little extra tool if you want. Now, for this particular segment, there's really only a couple of things you need. You need a really good pair of scissors. I really like the ones that have a serrated blade and a pointed edge. You get a much better cut, and you get less fraying of your fabric too. These happen to be Karen K. Buckley, but I don't advocate that you have to have these. You can do it with any good pair of scissors you have, but a 4-inch blade or so is typically all you need. You don't need a big full set of scissors. And then a fabric glue stick. A fabric glue stick, if you don't use the ones made by the fabric industry for fabric, and you're going to use something that you might find at your local department store or variety store, then please make sure it says non-toxic, low tack if you're going to be using something that you might find at a hardware store, low tack, non-toxic, those kinds of things. that will tell you that those glues aren't going to eat away at your fabric. They're not going to have a higher acid level to them. So there is a video on my on my YouTube channel at My Build a Quilt where I go through, I did a whole experiment on 3 or 4 different fabric glue pens. The Bowen, it's a French made product, but you can get it here in the United States. And it's not really much different than the other glue sticks like this. I always keep a little plastic wrap over mine to keep it moist from drying out and to keep my cap clean. But it's not really much different, but I will tell you in the process of washing it away and all at the end, it really, to me, worked out better. But you can check out that video, but please feel free to use what you might already have in your sewing area. All right, and then you're going to need your 5x7 embroidery hoop, whatever hoop goes with your machine brand, and then wash away stabilizer. Now, in this case, I've used pre-cut wash away stabilizer, and it's just the kind that you use when you are doing freestanding lace projects like that. So it's just like this. It washes completely away. I also have a video series on how to use this and what to do with it. And will it hurt your pipes? No. I actually have talked to some professionals and got their information. It won't. It's like pouring potato water down. It's mainly starch. However, I always caution that if a professional, not your neighbor who says, I think, but a professional tells you that they would prefer you not put this down your sink, then you can always put it down through the toilet. You can always take this water and put it out in the garden. It won't hurt your garden at all either. In fact, sometimes I do that in the summer. Instead of wasting the water when I wash away the stabilizer, I'll take it out and water the garden with it. So, but this is all you're going to need. That is truly all you need for this particular block. Hang on just a second. My machine locked up. Occasionally, if I don't get right to it, it locks itself up. So we'll just restart it while we're chatting here. And then the next thing in your packet is the fabric information sheet. These are just, this has really nothing to do but to say this is the fabric sheet. Sometimes I give you very specific color swatches here, but in this case, because with a string piece block, it's perfect for doing scrappy fabrics or for curating your own design. And I'm going to show you that in another sample that I have here. But what this tells you is that, one, you need that 5x7 hoop. Just getting that going. And then it says for this project, it works better if you use 5x10-inch strips of fabric, curate a specific look with a single fabric design collection, or go completely scrappy. The choice is entirely yours. Choose 4 to 7 fabric colors for each block. Using a 5x10 strip in 4 colors or patterns works great for a curated look. That's the other sample I'm going to show you here in a moment. And 7 works great if you want each stripe to be a different fabric and to get that totally scrappy look. And that's all the information in there. And then your next page is more general instructions on piecing. And then I always give you the picture, a full-size picture. Sometimes seeing that picture really helps you. Now, this particular segment single doesn't come with a coloring sheet. Most of our patterns usually do. This one doesn't because it's so scrappy that I figure you can just kind of get in there and do whatever you want with it. And then, of course, the very last page is all the, if you need to contact us, if you need to do this or that, all of that. And the one thing it does say is that this video is entirely for your personal use, please. Please don't share it. Please don't show it at other classes and things of that nature. However, if you are a shop or know a shop that would like to teach this as a project, a quick mini class at a shop, then please contact me at the information in here and we can work that out with you one-on-one. Okay. Alrighty. Let's talk more now about that fabric. I told you in the instructions that, excuse me one moment, I'm going to try and bring this up again, get it going. Alrighty. One more, and there we go. And there we go. Okay, we should be ready to go now once we get over there. I told you in the instructions that a 5 by 10 strip of fabric works best. Why 5 by 10? Well, one, you get more than one strip out of a piece. But the other part is that when you see this center stripe here, these blocks always start in the center and work out. You're laying it on a diagonal. And when this is in your machine, I'm just going to lay this and hold it up. There you go. That is what it's going to look like. So to get it to cover the boundary area on the top and the bottom, that 10 inches really helps. You will have a little left over, but that's okay because then this piece of fabric, the leftover, can be used for shorter segments later in your project if you want them to be. So now here is a tip for you when it comes to fabric and cutting for this particular segment piece. These 5 by 10 pieces that I'm showing you and that I'm going to be working on today are something that I have found over at the Fat Quarter Shop. Most of you, if you're quilters, know Kimberly Jolly and the Fat Quarter Shop, a great company, and they sell a pre-cut called the Jolly Bar. Joli, I believe, or Jolly, maybe. I think it might be Jolly, Jolly Bar. And they are a package of pre-cuts from a single designer, just like all pre-cuts are from one designer and you get something from the whole line of fabric. Well, that's what these are. And they're just the 5 by 10 cuts. Now, I believe that they also have traditional quilting patterns that you can make with just 1 or 2 Jolly Bars. Cool. And so I've had some of these and I actually love them. I love them as a pre-cut. They're kind of that in-between size that can be really handy. So I have chosen this one I have. This is from a Lori Holt collection. And so I'm going to be using those in the demo today. And they're actually, this is Lori Holt's fabric as well that I used in this sample piece that I've shown you earlier. And this is the idea that we're going to do in the demonstration today. Now, there's one more way you can use pre-cuts with this. If you don't want to buy a Jolly Bars, especially if you're going to make a bigger quilted piece, try your layer cake pre-cuts. Now, this happens to be one from Riley Blake that I've had for a couple of years. And I'm not promoting Riley Blake or Lori Holt or the Fat Quarter Shop. I'm just telling you what I've used so that if you're interested in that, if it's helpful for you, then you know how to get a hold of it. But you can use any layer cake. And the thing about a layer cake is they're 10 by 10. So all you have to do is take stacks of them and then just strip cut them right down the center. And you have basically 2 Jolly Bars from 1 layer cake. So either way, that can help you. You can always take and cut your fabric from your fat quarters or from any yardage that you happen to have in your sewing room. Alrighty, now I want to show you the second sample. It's what I call the curated sample because this one, I took a little thought to it, whereas this one, completely scrappy, 7 different fabrics, and I just laid them out. They're not necessarily, it's not like it's red, taupe, blue on each side. So this is red, taupe, blue. This is blue, red, and an orangey brown. So they were just 7 different fabrics that I chose from that Lori Holt Jolly Bar that I had. But this one is the curated one. Say you have a fabric design collection that you absolutely love and you would like to do this with it. Then to curate that, what I mean by curating is to make it look more intentional. 1 specific color down the center stripe. And then when you work out this way or this way, your colors follow the same pattern. Green, cream, dark taupe, green, cream, dark taupe. So when I put this together, many of them together, the stripes should run together. You're going to get a very, very intentional look with this type of a layout. This type of a layout, you're going to get a very random, very scrappy look. And that's the great thing about quilting, is it's entirely up to you what you wish to do. Today, I am going to be demonstrating the entirely scrappy look. But again, if you want to do this look, you'll need, this is the one where I say you need 4 fabrics. 4 5x10 strips will get you this, and you'll have enough left over to kind of fill in on other blocks too. So there was 1 piece in this, and then 1 piece of fabric did my 2 greens, and I had leftovers. 1 did my 2 creams, and I had leftovers. And 1 did these 2 corners, and I had a little bit of leftover. Okay? Alrighty. So that is our little tutorial on the fabric. Are you ready to start making your 5x7 string block? These are so fun to make. This is the kind of thing, if you sometimes can't sleep at night and you want to get up and you want to do something, but you don't want to have to worry about really like having to get out the stuff to cut and having to be really precise with things and really like intentional, like, oh, I need to make a half square here and how many of these do I need? Make your string pieced blocks then, because they're so random and easy to do that really easy repetitive nature, you'll be asleep before you get 2 or 3 of them done, I bet. So let me flip over the camera and bring it up here. There we go. So here we are at my machine. I am using a Brother Dream Machine 2. It's the Dream Machine that was upgraded. I have my 5x7 hoop here. Let me turn on my light. Sorry, I knew there was something that didn't look right there. There we go. I have my hoop with my stabilizer. I'm going to place it into my machine. I've got my pattern all up here. Let's see, can I bring that up a little bit? There we go. I've got my pattern on my screen over here, so I'm all ready to go. I'm going to bring this back down. And the first 2 pieces are stitched directly onto the stabilizer. And the very first one is the entire outline of the block, the boundary of this block, the 4 sides. And while that's stitching out, I'll unwrap my little piece of plastic for my glue stick. And let's see. Oh, I've got plenty in here. I've got lots left on that tube. Alrighty, and I have my scissors. I will say that doing the string pieced block requires a little bit more trimming than some of our other segment pieces do, but it's not difficult. You don't need to measure, and I'm going to show you how to do that as we go. All right, so I have my boundary here. Now I'm going to stitch out machine step 2. I'll take this out and hold it up to the camera so you can see it when we're done. I should have put in a top thread that was black so you could see it easier. I apologize. It has been 110 degrees. You don't normally see me with sleeveless, but it is so hot, even with the air conditioner on. I don't even want to think about what our electric bill will be this month. And that's for Illinois, very unusual. Alrighty, so let's take this out and hold it up, and you can see, there we go. You can see our boundary box, and this is the layout for our placement area for our first piece of fabric. So let's bring it down here to the table. The first thing I like to do, and you do not have to use fabric glue stick if you don't want to. I just find it easier. I put a little strip right down there very lightly. I'm going to take, since I'm doing it scrappy, I'm just grabbing fabrics, and I'm going to lay this right over the top. I'm going to place it back into my machine. And the next step is step 3, and this is going to tack that piece down right in the center of the design. What we'll do after this is we're going to actually do the trimming. And I do apologize. It might be a little difficult to see the lines in this, but it's not hard to do it. Let's take this out of our machine. So since I know you can't really see this thread right here and right here, if I flip it back, you can see where it is. So there is a, let's see, know that you can see that or not. There is the angled part of the thread right there. Normally you would kind of cut here and then cut down, but to save yourself time, just come out here. You only want to trim roughly a 1/4 inch. You don't need to measure. You can eyeball it, and you're just going to come down all the way to the end. And there you have a strip that you can use in another string piece block, or you can use it for a mosaic block, however you want to do that. And so now I have just roughly a 1/4 inch there. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I just kind of pull it back, see with my thread, or see where my thread is, and then I come in here and cut. If you are someone who wants to know that you are technically at that 1/4 inch, trust me, once you've done it 2 or 3 times, you'll be able to eyeball it with no problem. But if you want to, take a ruler and lay it there, lay your 1/4 inch on your seam line, and then maybe give yourself a little wash away pen to give yourself that mark there. But honestly, I would not go to all of that trouble. All right, so my next piece, we're going to work this half first. So my next piece, let me just grab another one. There's my next one. I lay it right side down, right on the edge of the piece from before. Place it back into my machine. And I'm just going to stitch this down. And now that, because you've laid it right on that edge, you're going to have the perfect seam there each and every time. Okay, now I don't bother taking this out of my machine. I'm just going to give myself a couple little dots of my glue stick, and then I'm going to flip this fabric over and press it down. Now here, if you want, you can use a seam roller and really press that down, but I think probably you can do it fine with your fingers as well. It's entirely up to you. My seam roller I really like to use when I cut it out of the stabilizer and I'm pressing my seams then. I like to use it then a lot. Alrighty. That's our second piece. Now we're going to trim again. So again, I'm not going to worry about cutting where it's on the angle. I'm just going to come right off the top of the fabric and cut down. It's easier to do it this way, and you're going to have enough fabric on, and then you have that whole big piece. That could even be used as a centerpiece for another block if you wanted to do that. But again, we're going to, if you're going to curate, you can see where you would have enough fabric to do it on the other side as well. So okay, that's not quite, it's a little more than I wanted there. So I'm just going to trim it again. There we go. And we'll put that away. All right. Now you can see that there is plenty of fabric outside the boundary on both sides, and you want that. If you start cutting those at the angle, you're going to end up not giving yourself enough to trim that off to that perfect 1/4 inch at the end. That's why that straight cut will work better for you every time. Now we're going to do our next piece, and I'm going to use this pretty green. Again, I'm going to lay it right on the edge, face down, right on the edge of the last piece that we stitched. And yes, this method by some is called flip and stitch. That's correct. We don't create ours on the top of batting like some different companies do, because I'm a quilter. I've been a quilter for over 55 years, and I've created this so that you are creating a quilt just like you would in any other circumstance. You're not creating embroidery that looks like quilting. Okay, now I'm going to give myself a little bit of glue stick again, because once you wash your stabilizer away, nobody will know that this block wasn't pieced in any by like a sewing machine. It looks exactly the same. whoops, I'm sorry. This pattern set that I'm using on my machine is an old one. I forgot to, you won't have that little step that just stitched there. When I originally digitized it, I added in, for some reason, a little piece there and never took it out. It won't be in your digital pattern, though. And I didn't put on the new digital pattern. I used my old one, so I apologize if that looked kind of funny there. All right, now once again, I'm going to come in here and trim. Now, this last piece that we're going to put on here is going to end up being this whole entire corner. So let me see, what do I have over here in the stack? Ooh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. That looks like different blocks in and of themselves. So we, again, we'll lay that right side down. We should end up with at least 1 or 2 blocks in this space. That'll look really pretty. And I'll stitch it down. There will also be a video added to the end of this demonstration that you can watch. It's about 3 minutes, and it shows you the easiest way for piecing these blocks together once they're all created. You do not need a 1/4 inch foot or any additional accessories on your sewing machine. Just a general basic sewing machine will work, because you already have the seam line guide built in. And I'll tell you about that when we make it here at the end. Now, you could, because this was the last piece on this side, you could just leave this here, and then when you trim the whole piece out, you can take care of your leftover fabric, because you're going to have 2 big pieces here. However, if you are doing the curated piece, you'll want to come in here and go ahead and do that trimming about 1/2 inch down each side, because these corners are what will create your second corner in the curated piece, okay? So let me show you how that works in case you decide to do that. So I'm going to come in here, and there's my seam line. I'm just going to come about 1/2 inch away. Normally I would get closer, but I want to make sure I've given myself plenty there for trimming in the end. And then I'm just going to come up here and do that on this side too. Now, these 2 triangle-ish pieces, if I cut them right there, those will both make another corner for this block. So if you're going to do that curated style, or you want to use that fabric on other corners in other scrappy blocks, you've got it. Now we're going to move over to this other side, and believe it or not, it works pretty much the same exact way. So here I have a fabric that's kind of fun looking. That looks like crochet. Very cute. I'm going to lay that down right there on top of, so this time I'm working on this side, so I'm going to lay it down on that edge, bring it back into my machine, and stitch it down. So with projects that you've done, say you have used a layer cake for projects, and you have leftover layer cakes squares, what I recommend is go ahead and cut them down the middle and put them in a stack, so that as you go along, you're creating your 5x10 stacks, so that when you want to make these, your fabric is all ready to go. There's no additional cutting that you'll need to do. That's what I do. Oops, there we go. Forgot to put my piece down over here to hold my hoop in. I'm always forgetting to do that. Is that something you guys do too? All right, and once again, we're going to bring it out and we're going to trim it. Okay, and now, so right there is my line. So I'm going to come here about a 1/4 inch out from that line. And if you're a little less or a tiny bit more, not to worry. Gosh, I'm having a little hard time seeing that one myself because of the light fabric. There we go. All right. So then I have that piece and I just put them, I have my cut pieces in a stack. That way, if I want to reintroduce them into my piece, I can just grab them and go. Now, for the next piece, I think I'm going to grab this one. That's really cute. Isn't that lovely? I love that. Little houndstooth with the flowers. Lay that on there, and now we're ready to go on this side. So these only take about 4 minutes of stitching time at, I think I have this set at, in fact, I'll double check what I have it set at. It's either at 500, 600, or 700 stitches per minute. Let me double check it for you. It's set at 700. Okay, so this is set at 700 stitches per minute, and these take about 4 minutes of stitching time. So you should be able to do these pretty easily. Just putting in my glue, and I'm going to flip this. I am one that doesn't do anything at the highest speed my machine comes in, and that is because I find that if you do things really fast, that is always when you end up making a mistake or getting something to go wrong. So I just don't do it. It's, for me, quilting is not a race. It is a time to relax and enjoy the beauty of fabric, which I just love, and to maybe listen to a good book. Or I know we were speaking about Kimberly Jolly earlier with the Fat Quarter Shop. She's so lovely, and I think she likes to listen to true crime podcasts and things. I think that is what I've heard. That's kind of what she does when she does her quilting. Now, Kim quilts in a traditional way. She doesn't use the Build A Quilt system, but maybe if somebody tells her about it, she will. Maybe she'll give it a try. Alrighty, so now I just have one. Whoops, I didn't need to flip that. I have one more piece, and that's going to be my corner on this side. Let's see what I might have in here. What about, whoops, I grabbed 2 pieces instead of one. What about that one? Flip that over, bring it in, and stitch. So I like to listen to books on tape. I like to listen to music, lots of kinds of music. I play several instruments, so sometimes I listen to pieces that I'm learning for performance. Sometimes I stream a movie on my computer while I am quilting, but it's my time, and I don't worry about perfection or speed. Perfection is the enemy of beautiful, because there's no such thing as perfection. Trying to be perfect just gets in our way as quilters so much of the time. Now, I'm going to leave this piece on. Now, I have done the whole layout. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch all the way around. That line is going to be our line to help us stitch these together on the machine. It's going to be our guideline, and you'll see that little video at the end. However, with string piecing, you've got a lot of these little pieces fluffy around here that can get caught on the foot of your machine. So I like to take my tape. I always put it outside of, not on the stitch line, but outside the stitch line a little bit. And I am going to stitch, tape it down on all 4 sides to make sure that we're just getting everything. Usually I only do it on the edges where I'm going against the fabric fold, but this time I'm doing it on all 4 because there's so much loose fabric running around there. Something could accidentally fold over and just end up causing more trouble than it's worth. So I am laying that outside the stitch line on all 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever these little pieces are located. And I am going to go ahead and snip this off. I'm just gonna whoops. There. Alrighty. And now we're going to do that last stitch out, which is going to be your seam guide. Again, when you use fabric tape, either use something made specifically in the industry for fabric, or if you use a medical tape, please make sure it says for sensitive skin. That again will tell you that there is not enough acid in it that's going to hurt your fabric. If you use a tape that is from the hardware store, please make sure it says either for delicate finishes or low tack, something like that. That will be a less acidic version of glue as well, because we want to try and keep, acid is not friendly to fabric over time, even if we wash it. It's just not a friendly thing to have running around on our fabric if we don't have to. So now, I'll fold that down a little bit, we have this one done. And so this one could be stitched right next to this one. And so I would stitch those together if I wanted to, because they're the same fabric line, or I could just do them all in different fabrics, different lines, and they would all turn out to be beautiful. If you were going completely scrappy. If you are going to do the curated version, this version, then you want to plan those out maybe a little bit. And that is our 5x7 string pieced block. There we go. We're back to our regular camera. So that's how easy it is to make the string pieced block. If you have other questions, if there's something that I forgot, which I hope there isn't, but if there is something I forgot, or if you come up with a question that you need an answer to, please feel free to contact me at support@sewuncommon.com, and I'll get back with you right away. If it's later in the evening, it might be the next morning, depending on if I have gone to bed early or if we're doing something with the family, something of that nature. But I will get back with you, and I at least try to acknowledge that I received your email and let you know that I'll get back with you in the next morning. If you're looking for more patterns and designs by Build A Quilt, please visit our website, www.mybuildaquilt.com. It has been my pleasure today to have your time for this demonstration video. I hope you love it. Please join us on Wednesday nights for our Wednesday night live that we do from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have a lot of fun. We go over these kinds of projects and other projects. We have little stitch alongs. We always have a little giveaway at the end of the hour. So we'd love to have you join us then. So until next time, please, as I tell everybody, go quilt life beautiful. Go grab your scraps and make some beautiful string piece blocks. I think you're going to love it. Bye for now, everybody. Hi, everybody. So this is Diana, and I'm here at my sewing machine to show you how to sew your pieces together without getting that stitch line to show. Now you can see here I just have 2 little half square triangles. I've used the pin method up here at the point to make sure they're lined up, and I just have 1 clip here. Now what I do first is when I put this in my machine, I get my needle right to where the line would be, right on that stitch line, okay? Then I come over to my machine's tools and I take my width down by 1, and that's all. Now I'm going to put it back up, and I'm going to take you back over to here and let you see that. Okay, so watch the needle, how that moves. I'm going to move it now. See how it just moved one place to the inside, or I guess as you're looking at it, it would be to the left. That would be to the inside. Now I'm going to place my needle down, and I can go ahead and remove my clip because this is a small piece, and I can sew right down. And I have my stitch length at 1.8, and you can see now that I've already done a few stitches, it is still right one click in. It's not directly on top of it, and so I should, when I'm done, be able to finish and not have that black line sewn, and you just follow it all the way down. Now I'm going to cut my thread and bring it out, and I will open this up and bring it right back over so you can see it. So there it is, opened up. Now you might see a little of the black in this case because I used that marker, but when I'm just going to open up my seam in the back and hold it open for you. But you can see when I hold it open, that's just a little piece of thread that I can pull out of there. That's gone. And now you don't see it at all. You don't see any of the black thread, which I used for demonstration purposes, but you don't see any of my original embroidery thread from making the patchwork itself. And that is just by moving that needle one space and one space only. And again, I always stitch these with a 1.8 or a 2.0 stitch length so that it really holds these together when you go and open them up. And when I open it up here, you can see the line all the way down on both sides, and that's what you should be able to do. So I hope that you found that helpful. That was a great question. Thank you so much for asking that. And now we'll move on with the rest of the Q&A for today.